This is your daily briefing and you are most welcome to it. Nuno, 47, becomes the shortest serving Spurs manager of the Premier League era, lasting just 124 days and 10 league games. Danny Murphy warns us that Conte is a pragmatist. Went to Chelsea, played with a black back five, employed wing backs, won the league, but he did so in a pragmatic way. I think the comparisons with what he did before in previous lives aren't really worth very much. Systems are useful, formations, yeah, sure, but we're talking about totally different players. And let me just get this in. As a couple of dissenting voices, how dare you, on this place yesterday. The usual, why can't you be cheerful? Aren't you happy? I'll be happy. I'm happy on a routine basis, first of all. Let me just get that straight with you. I'm not happy with Enoch and I'm not happy with Levy. So don't tell me how I should be feeling, because I can't survive on hopes, dreams, and just give it a rest. Go sell that to somebody else, because we're all stocked up here. We've had 2 decades of this nonsense, and what I'm providing is analysis for grown-ups. So if you don't like it, just go away. You came to me. Paul Jiggins tells us for The Sun that Antonio Conte will be given a £150 million war chest to revive Tottenham. The Italian 52 is in advanced talks with Spurs over an 18-month deal worth $15 million a year after they sacked Nuno yesterday. I'll believe it when I see it. I will believe it when I see it. I've heard all this before. We've had this with numerous managers. So-and-so war chest, Levy prepared to spend big, blah, blah. He's never done it. I'm happy to cheer and fist pump when the Leopard changes its spots, and not a moment before. So if you want to jump the gun, if you want to get excited and throw your underwear in the air, be my guest. But do not ask me to join you in this craziness. 22 years we've had of this nonsense, and you're telling me it's all rainbows, lollipops, and unicorns. Sorry, I disagree. Rio Ferdinand says Antonio Conte is the rocket that Tottenham need. As Manchester United legend says, Italian style of ruling with an iron fist will benefit beleaguered Spurs. Jack Pitt-Brook. Conte talked in detail about his ambitions and his plans, as well as how he would get the players fitter, impressing Daniel Levy, Fabio Paratici, and the rest of the Premier League's club's hierarchy. I guess we could have all guessed that. And my question is, how are we going to fare? How are our players going to fare in this bend or break, comply or die scenario? What are the odds of Antonio Conte getting what's required out of Tottenham's inadequates? And that's the pivotal question. I was saving this for them, but let's just throw this in here. We've had this rumoured thing coming out of the club that players weren't satisfied and so forth with Poch, weren't satisfied with Nuno, didn't dare say a word against Mason because they knew the jig was up. And the Athletic are running with a piece that says during or after Mourinho's last game for Tottenham, 2-2 draw with Everton, in April, the squad took a vote on Jose staying and only 2 players voted yes. I mean, inadequates isn't even the half of it. These people are troubled, and they are the problem. £150 million war chest, sure, if Daniel Levy is prepared to sell off Deadwood at a bargain rate, at a discounted rate, because nobody's going to come in and pay big money for Dele Alli. Nobody's going to come in and give us decent money for Steven Bergwijn. The list goes on. Davinson Sanchez. There's question marks over probably about 50% of the squad. So, again, like I said to you with... now, I think Conte is a far superior manager to Nuno Espirito Santo, but please don't try and tell me that he's got a pocket full of fairy dust. Just don't believe you. And it's a question of... You see, the thing is, that the biggest obstacle is that Conte needs to bring something here which is stronger than the virtual wholesale absence of self-respect in so many of the players. Conte's developed a reputation as a manager who demands money to spend on improving his squad, but at Tottenham he would team up with the chairman Daniel Levy, who has developed a reputation as a prudent businessman, in inverted commas, who is reluctant to spend the kind of fees paid by Premier League's leading clubs. Chris Sutton, former Norwich and Blackburn striker, does a lot of work for the BBC. The terms must have changed, he told BBC Radio 5 Live on the Monday Night Club, referring to Conte's aborted summer switch to Tottenham. Excuse me. He isn't going to go to Spurs unless he can feel he can win something or come close, because he's not that type of manager. He is not coming to the end of his career. He wants to come in and try to transform the club. Spurs aren't doing Conte a favour. Conte is doing Spurs a favour. And as I said to you, the spotlight is shining well and truly on Tottenham, on ENIC and on Daniel Levy at this stage. So the idea that this guy's going to come in, say, izzy wizzy, let's get busy, and suddenly Spurs start kicking into gear and winning everything, I'm afraid it's a little bit naive. New York Times football writer Rory Smith suggested a possible reason of common ground might have been reached between the two parties, and that would be money. As much as Conte is a brilliant manager, that comes at a cost, he said. That is that he complains constantly that there is not enough resources being given to him in the terms of players. Maybe Spurs have gone to back him and said, we are in a bit more of a pickle than we thought we were, so maybe we can talk about different targets in the transfer market. Really? Be amazing, but when the Leopard changes its spots. Rory continues, that's unlikely. I don't think Spurs are flush with cash and aren't likely to go spending £200 million in the summer. I gave you an estimate before Nuno came, before Jose came, that we were approximately at that point £250 million away from standing still when it came to being spending in the Premier League, and we've spent nowhere near that. The only other possibility is that Conte's hand is strengthened because Spurs have won 5 and lost 5 in the league, and they have offered to pay him more. Gabriel Marcotti says there are two things to me that don't fully make sense. One is that the reportedly 18-month deal. That seems strange when you're talking about a project and long-term manager security and clout. The other obvious thing is that when you look at why Conte has left his previous jobs, the Italian continued that he left Inter at the end of last season because they couldn't invest money and they sold his best players. He left Chelsea because he couldn't get owner Roman Abramovich to spend more money on the players that he wanted. You've heard the famous line about him leaving Juventus when he said, they wanted me to eat out in €100 restaurant with €10 in my pocket. They weren't delivering in the market. You think of all the owners in the Premier League, and it's most likely that to be cautious with his money is Levy. It is completely counterintuitive, and this is where I am. So, like I said, I mean, there was only a couple of voices to say, but we need to stamp this sort of stupidity out, because right now the Leopard hasn't changed its spots. And the glimmer of hope here, one thing that might have changed the context for him is a bit that you look around Europe and where else could he go? Paris Saint-Germain appear to be sticky with Mauricio Pochettino. Manchester United look unwilling to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and by all accounts they're a little wary of Conte because they have bought into the not exactly accurate portrayal of him as a firebrand, a divisive figure like Jose Mourinho. Barcelona and Real Madrid are out of the question as regards their financial clout, so that makes Spurs just about the biggest available club to him at this point. Listen, I cringe when people say we shall see what we shall see, but circumstances alter situations, and we need a dynamic shift in the way that Levy operates in order for Conte to be successful. He's not going to put his arm around anybody. He's going to tell people to pull their fingers out. He's going to tell them to work harder. He's going to tell them to listen harder, to concentrate and to focus. So all that stuff that I've been going on about and other people have been going on about Spurs losing the ball stupidly, unforced errors, bad passing accuracy, all that tedious stuff that I know sends some of you to sleep. This is what Conte will do, but what I'm saying to you is it's bend or break, comply or die. And he can't do it without money. And that's what great managers do. I cannot come at you with this all of the time, but some of you think that Bill Nicholson grew players in a window box. Didn't happen like that. Went out and bought them. Same with Clough, same with Jock Stein, same with Shankly. All of these guys, you've got to spend, and never more so than in the 21st century. So Conte has it all to do, but I would suggest that Daniel Levy has it much, much harder. Good luck. Keep it on.